In the aftermath of my previous and oftentimes cataclysmic mishaps, I've come to the following conclusions. True bliss cannot be found in ignorance nor attained through the bittersweet oblivion of narcotic anesthesia. For ignorance in all of its manifestations and by its very nature is the nemesis of common sense, and common sense is the keystone without which the intelligent would collapse into senselessness. In the absence of intelligence, only the ignorant proclaim their ignorance by foolishly using it to excuse their own ignorant actions in an effort to avoid accountability. But being and or remaining ignorant when knowledge is attainable isn't a viable excuse, it's a choice, and as such involves the requirement to think, even if ineffectually. One of the most basic choices anybody can make is to think rationally, irrationally, or not at all. But by refusing to think for oneself, doing so irrationally, one exposes and broadcasts their ignorance, which increases the chance of their being exploited and controlled like a helpless marionette. One can either choose to embrace their independence by forsaking and exchanging their ignorance for knowledge, thus becoming the master instead of the slave, or one can choose to embrace their subjugation and bondage by doing the reverse and become just another obedient, submissive servant whose entire existence and every single move in it is dominated and dictated by any and all puppet masters who possess more knowledge than their own ignorant selves. By choosing the ignorant's own knowledge, one is also choosing to propagate, provoke, and ensure their own intellectual stagnation and decay, while sacrificing their potential in the altar of monotonous mediocrity. This type of thinking is irrational, requires minimal effort, and inspires zero desire ambition, or a motivation for a positive change and or upward advancement, but it does, through a warped and twisted sense of perception, afford one the ability to create and maintain an illusion of knowledge and success, even when face to face with their own repetitive failures and eye to eye with their own undeniable ignorance. Rational thinking, on the other hand, involves much more than just simple rationality. It virtually demands a complex combination of decisiveness so one can make necessary decisions, integrity so one can follow through with any and all choices made, moral courage and inner strength so one can admit any wrongs and suffer all consequences to make them right without suffering the indignity of surrender or defeat. But perhaps the most important virtue of all is humble wisdom, so one can learn from their mistakes and thus decrease the likelihood of making and or taking the same erroneous choices which lead to the same detrimental actions out of rational reason or ignorance. In summary, the wise are disciples of knowledge, whose only desire is to understand themselves and the world they live in, so that they in turn can help others do the same. The ignorant, on the other hand, desire nothing but to wallow in the mire of their own vast and incomprehensible excuses while corrupting themselves and infecting their minds with thoughts and ideas that defy all logical reason. And what defies reason defies reality. Defying reality defies life. And anyone foolish enough to defy life is essentially choosing to forsake and exchange their living life for perpetual dying death wish. By Travis Lee Moore.